Ushuaia is the capital of Tierra del Fuego, Antártida e Islas del Atlántico Sur province, Argentina. With a population of 80,000 plus, and a location below the 54th parallel south latitude, Ushuaia claims the title of world's southernmost city, but Port Williams is actually. Ushuaia is located in a wide bay on the southern coast of Isla Grande de Tierra del Fuego. It is bounded on the north by the Marshall Mountain Range and on the south by the Beagle Channel. It is the only municipality in the department of Ushuaia and has an area of 9,390 km. It was founded on October 12, 1884 by Augusto Lacerre and is located on the shores of the Beagle Channel surrounded by the mountain range of the Marshall Glacier in the Bay of Ushuaia. In addition to being an administrative center, it is a light industrial port and tourist destination. Ushuaia is located roughly 1,100 km from the Antarctic Peninsula and is one of 5 internationally recognized Antarctic gateway cities. It is the only South American city with that status besides Chile's Punta Arenas. A little bit about the history of the place. The Selknam people, also called the Ona, first arrived in Tierra del Fuego about 10,000 years ago. The southern group of people indigenous to the area, the Yaghan, also known as Yamana, who occupied what is now Ushuaia, lived in continual conflict with the northern inhabitants of the island. For much of the latter half of the 19th century, the eastern portion of Tierra del Fuego was populated by a substantial majority of nationals who were not Argentine citizens, including a number of British subjects. Ushuaia was founded informally by British missionaries, following previous British surveys, long before Argentine nationals or government representatives arrived there on a permanent basis. The British ship HMS Beagle, under the command of Captain Robert Fitzroy, first reached the channel on January 29, 1833, during its maiden voyage surveying Tierra del Fuego. The city was originally named by early British missionaries using the native Yamana name for the area. Much of the early history of the city and its hinterland is described in Lucas Bridges' book, Uttermost Part of the Earth. The name Ushuaia first appears in letters and reports of the South American Mission Society in England. The British missionary Hawkins Sterling became the first European to live in Ushuaia, when he stayed with the Yamana people between January 18th and mid-September 1869. In 1870, more British missionaries arrived to establish a small settlement. The following year, the first marriage was performed. During 1872, 36 baptisms and 7 marriages and the first European birth, Thomas Despard Bridges, in Tierra del Fuego were registered. The first house constructed in Ushuaia was a pre-assembled 3-room home prepared in the Falkland Islands in 1870 for Reverend Thomas Bridges. 1 room was for the Bridges family, a second was for a Yamana married couple, while the third served as the chapel. Thomas Bridges learned the Yaghan language and was a fluent speaker. To a lesser extent, he was able to communicate in the Ona, forest dwellers, language. His missionary work was mainly directed at the Yaghans. The word Yamana simply means people in the Yaghan language. He wrote a dictionary of the Yaghan language, the original manuscript of which is in the British Museum. As the Yaghans had no ability nor means to write, Thomas Bridges had to construct an alphabet which was suited to the phonetics of the language. The original manuscript was lost 3 times, but recovered and almost published under an incorrect name. More than 1 alphabet has been used over the years in the rendering of this dictionary. The odyssey of the manuscript covered nearly half a century before it was finally published. Nathalie Goodall was instrumental in reprinting the dictionary in 1987 and providing valuable insights into the history of Thomas Bridges' work. Copies of the dictionary provide material on the letters and pronunciations used, which in many respects differ from the alphabet used in the English language. BJ's B&B is very cozy, yes. Business is conducted a little bit different down here, but this was the quickest Facebook Marketplace sale he has ever recorded. Mere minutes you're about to see.
A ver.
Ese, claro.
¿Anda bien?
¿Allá? Ya, sí.
¿Sí?
Sí, funcionales.
Here, at the southernmost city on the planet, grocery shopping feels like an adventure. Shelves are packed with unique items like locally sourced king crab and Patagonian lamb, but imported goods can carry a hefty price tag, thanks to the remote location. You'll notice a blend of global brands and regional favorites, and shopping requires some strategy, like timing your visit to avoid crowds or snagging fresh produce before it's gone. Preservation is tricky. Most of the staples are readily available and not too remarkable in price. But be warned, finding yerba mate varieties might take longer than you think, with entire aisles dedicated to this beloved Argentine staple. The homes of Ushuaia are as unique and charming as the city itself, a patchwork of colors and styles that seem to echo the rugged beauty of the landscape. Picture this: brightly painted houses in shades of red, green, and yellow, clinging to the steep slopes of the Andes, almost as if they're bracing themselves against the fierce Patagonian winds. Many are built with corrugated metal, a practical yet oddly whimsical touch that gives the town its unmistakable character. Then there's the architecture, part alpine, part maritime, with a dash of whatever the supply ship brought this month. The steep pitched roofs aren't just for show. They're built to shrug off snow during Ushuaia's long winters. Quaint cottages sit alongside modern chalets, all framed by some of the most dramatic scenery on earth. It's as if every home here has a story to tell, and together they whisper tales of resilience, creativity, and life at the edge of the world. Ushuaia has many parks and playgrounds to blend nature and quirkiness in ways only Ushuaia can. Let's start with Plaza Malvinas, a park dedicated to the Falklands War. It's not your typical one, but it's a place of reflection, history, and an impressive monument. For families, there's Parque Yatana. This spot isn't just a park, it's an ecological and cultural treasure trove. Wander among native lenga trees and discover installations that teach you about the local indigenous Yaghan people. It's like a history museum, and nature reserve got together and decided to raise kids. Then there's the town's array of playgrounds. The equipment looks like it was inspired by someone who got carried away. Slide down a giant whale? Sure. Climb ropes with the Beagle Channel glittering in the background? Why not? The kids might call it fun, but you'll call it a workout because, let's face it, you're going to try that rope wall, aren't you? Oh, and don't miss Paseo de las Rosas. It's a charming park with a garden of roses that somehow bloom in one of the harshest climates imaginable. Ushuaia's parks aren't just places to stretch your legs, they're an extension of its soul. Bosses in Ushuaia are a fascinating mix of practicality and charm, much like the city itself. Don't expect a sleek, high-tech transit system. This is the end of the world after all. The buses here are sturdy, no-frills workhorses designed to handle steep hills, unpredictable weather, and occasionally, curious tourists who aren't sure if they're on the right route. Most of the buses are geared towards locals, connecting neighborhoods to the city center. They run on what you might call Patagonia time. Not always punctual, but they get you there eventually. Payment is made with a rechargeable Sube card, which works across Argentina, so don't lose it. But the real gems are the tourist shuttles. These colorful minibuses whisk you to breathtaking destinations like Tierra del Fuego National Park or the iconic Marshall Glacier. And while the ride might be a little bumpy, the views from the window, snow-dusted peaks, endless forests, and the sparkling Beagle Channel are worth every jolt. Riding a bus in Ushuaia isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's part of the adventure, offering you a glimpse of local life and a front row seat to some of the most stunning scenery on the planet. During the 1880s, many gold prospectors came to Ushuaia following rumors of large gold fields, which proved to be false. On October 12, 1884, as part of the South Atlantic expedition, Commodore Augusto Lacer established the subdivision of Ushuaia, with the missionaries and naval officers signing the Act of Ceremony. Don Feliz M. Paz was named governor of Tierra del Fuego, and in 1885, named Ushuaia as its capital. In 1885, the territory police was organized under Antonio A. Romero, with headquarters also in Ushuaia. But it was not until 1904 that the federal government of Argentina recognized Ushuaia as the capital of Tierra del Fuego. The prison was formally announced in an executive order by the then acting President Roca in 1896.
to make a personal request, receive channel merchandise, or to just hook a brother up, hit up the Cash App on the screen, or make a contribution to the PayPal shown on the screen.